Alright, hello everybody. Today, we will go ahead and see a Silver 2 Jarvan game. Jarvan Jungle. So, let's just go ahead and get started on it. Hope everyone is doing pretty well today. So, when you're playing jungle, the first thing you want to do is look at the enemy jungle and try to guess what they're going to do. It's Sejuani. And so look at the enemy jungle and say, okay, how's this matchup? Am I stronger than them? Is my level 2 stronger? Can I invade? If we counter gank, can I kill? Or do I need to be scared of them counter ganking? So Jarvan is very strong early. Sejuani is pretty powerful early too as well in ganks, but you don't have to be too scared of her. I wouldn't necessarily invade. It's going to be hard to get away from a Sejuani if you invade and get caught out. But you don't have to be too worried about her counter ganking you, or you can look to turn counter ganks if you show up to one. So that's kind of the first thing you want to look at when you're jungling. Excuse me. Jarvan is really good at pressuring lanes early. So probably the best jungler route you could go on Jarvan, or anyone that's a very powerful early ganker, is to just go buff to buff. Just get your blue buff, go down to red buff. You'll hit level 3 double buffs around 3 minutes, maybe even before if you got good leashes. And then you can gank top lane, sometimes even before the enemy top lane is level 2, and it's very powerful. So one thing you also want to do when you're jungling is you want to pay attention to where their mid lane comes from. That will almost always tell you what buff the enemy jungle started at. Because if you see the enemy mid laner come through here, then they started blue. If they come through here, then they started red. So that's one thing you want to keep track of. And that will just kind of inform you where they started and what their path is. Excuse me. Okay, so I know you don't know this, but Sejuani just had used her smite, so she doesn't have a smite list. So you actually could invade her really easily. And she's going for more of a full clear, so she's not going to gank. But once again, I mean, you can't see that. So maybe let me turn my fog of war to just be yours. So anyway, you're going to buff. This is a good solid start. This gets you really fast level 3. Pulling into the bushes, it's just a nice safe play in case Sejuani was going to come over here. So that's fine. Good safe play right there. Okay, so all 3 points, all 3 abilities at level 3 is good. So Sin's just pushing, so this gank isn't going to happen. The only thing is that you can try to counter gank if your top lane's doing this. Actually, you could have even forced a flash because Sin just ran up and flung the Nasus. So you turn back up there. You actually did have gank potential there because Singed was able to fling Nasus. But anyway, so your top and mid lane are pushing, so it's gonna be hard for you to gank them. But what you can do is try to get in the enemy jungler's head, figure out where they're going, and set up a counter gank. So if you paid attention, you could see Kassadin walk through here, which tells you Sejuani started blue. And so this is what I was talking about. You get in the jungler's head, you realize, hey, mid's pushed up. Sejuani just cleared both of her buffs. They're probably ganking. So good reaction by you to head mid. So very good reaction by you. And pay attention because you just blew Sejuani's flash, and she was low health, so you're going to go take her race, which is a really good idea. Fortunately, Singed dies, which is never good. One thing you also want to do is you want to put a lot of pressure on Kassadin in early game. Good job there. You blow Kassadin's flash. And now what you really need to do is you really need to come back before Kassadin is 6. So Kassadin without flash is very easy to gank pre-6, but after 6 it's almost impossible to gank a Kassadin. So you need to make sure that you come back mid before Kassadin is level 6 and take advantage of the fact that you just blew his flash. That's going to be something that's really important to do right now. Excuse me. So, another thing, you can look to start ganking bottom. Pay attention to all of the enemy lanes, if they have wards, what they're starting with, etc. So, Leona is out of wards. She probably has some on the map, but, oh my god, cat. She will be completely out of wards by at least 3 minutes from now. So pay attention, and if they don't come back to base, bot lane's not going to have any wards pretty soon here. So, when you're jungling, you want to watch the lane, see what's going on. Realize that, hey, mid is pushing, Kassadin has no flash. This should be your priority right now. You should look for this gank. And you're doing a good job, you're looking for it right now. This is solid. This should be an easy kill. You can flash for this even. Because Kassadin doesn't have flash. If you knock him up, it's guaranteed to kill him as long as he's not 6. Kind of awkward timing there. He's playing really passive, but this is a guaranteed kill, pretty much. If you can knock him up before he's like by his tower, you shouldn't give up on this. Because if you just stayed and went right there, you would have killed him because he just played aggressive and went on Lissandra. This is awkward timing right now. And Sejuani is going to counter gank. So, kind of a misplay here. You really wanted to force this gank, and you really wanted to get this kill because you blue Kassadin slash pre-6. You just gotta keep on him, and you ended up not being able to convert on that. He's gonna hit 6 soon. He's gonna be almost impossible to gank. So that's a little lame. The other thing is that you gotta help out your top lane. Alright, Nasus just got a kill on Singed. You don't want to let Nasus have control over a lane. He's gonna farm up and just become a beast. So you may want to be very cautious of that. And your blue buff's about to spawn. So your buffs are about to spawn. So you want to get your mid laner blue buff. Actually, looks like she's going big on Kassadin, and she trades. Okay. Looks like you're gonna take the blue. So blue is really important on Lissandra. And this is what you're talking about in the replay, where you had a feeling that it was rewarded. So yeah, I actually want to rewind because if we look what just happened. Okay. So we see Sejuani. We say Sejuani here. She immediately turns and Qs this way. That should tell you that something's up. That should tell you right there, like, oh shit, I think this is warded. And if that's the case, you just gotta pull it back, or go this way. But it's karma for not giving that blue buff to your Lissandra. So that's unfortunate, and that's pretty bad. That's gonna give Sejuani an experience advantage over you, and that's definitely sad. She's also going to give her blue buff. And so we just saw her go top, so you need to be careful about her counter jumping you at red or ganking top right now as well. And it looks like you're pinging a lot. I'm assuming that's you pinging Singed. Good pings, because we did see Sejuani go top lane. But you need to be a little careful right here. Like, you're low mana, half health. If Sejuani comes here, Singed can't help you. It's a little dangerous. You already just established that she had a ward on your blue buff. So this was a pretty risky... Oh, excuse me. This is a pretty risky time to try to take that red buff. It worked out, but that's okay. So you're low mana and pretty much out of health, so make sure you go back to base. So far, you've put almost no pressure on the map. You had one good counter gank mid, and then you had a good gank mid that blew Kassadin's flash, but you didn't convert that by converting that into a kill. You haven't put any pressure on top lane, and you haven't put any pressure on bot lane. So out of the 3 lanes, you've only pressured mid, and you didn't even convert a kill out of that by 10 minutes, or I guess 9 minutes as Jarvan. That's not necessarily good enough. Jarvan, you should be very you should be a very strong influence on your lanes as Jarvan. Okay, so bot lane might actually survive through this. Actually, they convert a kill, so really well played by your bot lane. They get 2 kills and double buffs. So this was really well played by your bot lane. That's really good. They just converted a gank into a 2-for-1 trade. Look, you should look for Dragon right now, though. I mean, Kassadin did just die, but you just killed Sejuani and their support and chunked the Tristana. So the Tristana can't come. Kassadin's the only one that can come. You and Varus can two-man this Dragon pretty easily. So it doesn't even look like you're going to be able to get this tower. Maybe you can. It's hard to say. I guess depends if you're going to stay for it. The tower is okay to get, for definitely. The tower is going to give you a lot of global gold. I think I would have prioritized Dragon in this situation rather than tower. Mostly because, you know, Dragon, and I've talked about this before, but with the neutral objectives, Dragon and Baron, when you take one, not only does it give you the benefit, but it denies the enemy team from ever getting that objective as well. So Dragon would have been a really good idea here. Another reason why I want to prioritize tower here is your bot lane just got 2 kills and double buffs. That's going to make them really hard to lane against for the enemy team, and so if you didn't take that tower, then they'd be forced to lane. They wouldn't have a choice. And that might be a problem. So Lysandre's having a hard time against Kassadin, and this might be hard to... never mind. I was going to say, if Kassadin goes in... Oh wow, you called the flash. That's pretty funny. I don't know if you missed and Kassadin just flashed into your combo for some reason. But that was pretty good. So you threw your combo behind him, and he flashed directly onto it. Really, really poor play by Kassadin. But good call by you. Pick up that kill. Oof. Lysandre might be dead. And so this is one thing. Okay, she's out. Oh, Sejuani flashed. This is one thing you should do whenever you gank like this. If you gank and your opponent ends up, or your laner is left being low health, stick around in the lane, help them shove it to the tower. And that does 2 things. If you help them shove it to the tower, the first thing it does is it... oh, and you lost Dragon. So... oh, did you? Oh, okay. Well, all your plays just glitched. The Dragon is apparently there, but invisible. So, when you gank a lane, and you gank a lane successfully, but your laner is low, help them shove the wave to the tower. Just 2 things. The first is that if you push the creeps into the tower is going to kill all of your creeps. And every creep of yours that dies to the tower, that's experiencing gold that the enemy laner is not getting, so it's going to put them even further behind. The other thing is that it just protects your laner in case the enemy jungle is nearby. If they're low health after a gank, they're easy pickings for the enemy jungle. And so you just stick around and just protect them. So far your play has been pretty good. The only thing is that you had a pretty noticeable lack of pressure in the early game. And part of that was like, so one big part of that is you went double buffs, you walked top, then you just left. You didn't even try for the gank, you just left. And that wasted a large amount of time. And so that's not good. So your bot lane is doing work right now. You should take advantage of that by forcing dragons. Your mid is chunking their mid right now. Okay, so you just picked up kills. You should definitely force this dragon. It's pink warded. This is all good for you guys. You gotta tank this though. I'm not sure why you're letting Zyra tank it. Zyra just got chunked to like half health from this dragon because you let her tank it. So good dragon pickup. Sejuani kills top lane, but you guys get dragon. That's probably a worthy trade. So just one thing, you haven't been top at all. This is now the 2nd kill that Nasus has gotten top. Nasus actually built really, really poorly, so this advantage isn't really helping him. He's not being able to zone out Singed, which is good. But still, you still haven't pressured any lane but mid. That's the only lane that you've pressured. So one thing that Jarvan is really good at is ganking bottom lane. as long as this bush isn't, well, there's a couple ways you can get bottom lane. The first is you just walk into this lane bush. Lane ganks like this are really effective with any jungle with a gap closer. So you know, like Nocturne, Jarvan, Shaco, etc. You walk into this bush as long as it isn't warded, and when the creep wave settles right in the middle, you can just fight them. You can just, your lane can initiate a trade, and then you can just jump on them from the bush, and you just get a free knockup. Okay, so your top, so at this point, it's going to be really hard to kill this Nasus. He has Sunfire, so your damage is going to be low. You're pretty low on mana. I'm not sure why you're not comboing in there though. Did you just not have the mana for it? Combo is, no, you definitely had the mana for it. So you should have comboed in there, gotten that knock up, gotten that damage, the armor pen, etc. And the bonus armor from your flag. That would have been good going in there on that. And say you just walked up and shielded. I understand that maybe you didn't really want to fight, so you wanted to disengage, but the flag toss knock-up combo is a good disengage as well, just because of the CC it provides. Oof, Lissandra getting outplayed, silent so she couldn't E back. So Lissandra's definitely dead. One thing you can do as jungle that you haven't been doing is you can help your team ward. So your team hasn't been warding very well, and that's one thing that the jungle can really help with. Since you're all across the map, you can pick up some wards and help solve deficiencies in your team's warding. So you're just going mid and picking up farm, and that's fine. But like I said, the biggest thing so far in this game is you've had a noticeable lack of pressure, and so a big part of that has come from wasting time. Just one example is when you went up here top, didn't do anything, didn't look to force the gank, and then just left. Just always be doing something. You're ahead of the Sejuani in farm, which is good. But she has definitely put a lot more pressure on the map than you have. She's gotten a kill top. She's ganked bot a lot. She died once and gave a double buff, which is unfortunate. But she has been putting a lot more pressure on the map than you. So it's just something to consider when you're jungling. Is it really worth getting the 100 gold you're gonna get? If that, 70 to 100 gold from this small creep, when you could be ganking bot right now. Oh, and I was talking about gank past bottom. So lane ganks are really effective. The other thing you can do as J4 or anyone with mobility skills is you can try to sneak into this bush if it's not warded. You go from here to here, sneak into that bush. It bypasses a ward over here if they have one. Oh, Singe dead. Casting him flash down, that's good. So this is one problem with taking that bottom tower. You guys got the global gold from it, but since this is the first tower you've taken, bot lane hasn't been able to pressure the next tower. And they are right now, which is kind of scary because you don't have any wards and don't see anyone. It did save your mid tower by forcing the enemy team to change their pressure. But for the last 10 minutes or so of this game, well, I don't even know what happened. But anyway, the last 10 minutes or so of this game, mainly what you've been doing is just reacting to what the enemy team is doing. You're not forcing plays and forcing them to play to you. What you've been doing is you're like, oh, Sejuani's top, I need to go top. Sejuani's mid, I need to go mid. Oh, Castlin just ganked top, I need to go top and farm this wave. Oh, they just ganked Lissandra mid and she died, I need to go farm mid wave. And then in between all this, you're just farming small camps. So you have very little presence on the map right now. If you look at this Sejuani, she's everywhere. She's in every lane all the time, and she's not even behind you. If we look at gold, she is 200 gold behind you in very similar experience. So she's put way more pressure on the map, and in exchange, you're not even ahead of her. So the way to get out of this is just stop reacting to what the enemy is doing. Realize okay, yeah, they did that, and I'm too late to really have an impact there. So don't just go there and force something else. Just start looking to force plays. You should be looking bottom right now. They're pushed up. Your bot lane is really, really strong. They don't even have an outer tower. This should be easy gank for you. The other thing is that you want to start prioritizing to get this mid tower down, and maybe that's what you're pinging right now, or at least I see pings on the mid tower. So you can just walk up and just take this tower. And then Sejuani's there. Shocker. So, like I said, Sejuani is just having a tremendous amount of map pressure that you're just not having. But you guys, what you need to do in this game right now is you need to take advantage of how strong your bottom lane is. I guess Trist is pretty strong too, but Varus is still stronger. He's definitely stronger. So you need to take advantage of that. You need to capitalize on dragons. Dragon's been up. Stay with your bot lane. Prioritize them as the lane that you want to protect. So if you try to think of where Sejuani is and think, okay, if Sejuani is going to be bot lane, I want to be there because I want to counter gank that. Okay, good dragon here. This should be an easy one. Okay, good smite. Pick up that dragon. That's good. So you guys are about a 3k gold advantage, and that advantage is purely in the tower and dragon and 2 dragons that you guys are up. So good dragon control from you. That's good to see. So far in this game, you've been playing pretty well. The only thing is that you just have had a very little map pressure. You cannot get that close to a Castle with that low of HP. That's asking for trouble, especially without an EMR. He didn't kill you because he was too afraid of your team doing exactly what they did, which is good. So that was a really good initiate, but you just have to be really careful about that. I guess Cassidy didn't have flash, but if Cassidy didn't have flash, he would have just jumped on you, killed you, and flashed out this way and lived. If it's an experienced Cassidy player. So be really careful about being that low health against Kassadin in general, especially with 0 MR.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay, so this game is setting pretty well for you. You have like 4k gold advantage, your 80 carry is fed, Singed has farmed a lot, Nasus has too, so you have to be a little careful of this Nasus who's very strong. But you also have a Singed, and so that's okay. Singed is a beast too. So at this point, we're kind of entering the mid game. Every tower has died in the lanes. Laning is kind of over. Everyone's roaming. So at this point in the game, just make sure to stick with your team. When you're jungling, small camps aren't really important at this stage in the game. What's more important is map pressure and helping your team. And if there is nothing to be pressured. Okay, so you're diving straight in. Okay, so another knockup. So I'm just trying to really watch you in this team fight and figure out what's going on. Do you not have ult? Okay, you don't have ult. That's okay. So that fight was okay. The only thing, that first knockup you did, you knocked up all of their tank line. Uh-oh, here comes Cassidy and clean up though. So going in there is fine. You're gonna die, but you almost killed the Kassadin. Maybe you can get out actually. Okay, so you get out, so that's good. That was a really good call to go in there. You just gotta help your Varus out. And you guys almost converted that into a kill on Kassadin, and that's just something, you gotta go in on that. But anyway, for that fight, that first knockup you had, you knocked up all of their tank line, but you didn't get to that Trist in the back. And so you got their Nasus, Leona, and Sejuani, but you didn't get the Trist. Oof. Zyra getting dozed. So right now, they're all low. You guys have, well, these Kassadin and Nasus are very low, and they're gonna have to back. So you guys have the advantage right now, and you can look to try to convert this into something. And Baron might be a little too ballsy. They could probably contest, especially if they buy home guards. Actually, you know what? This would have been a great time to Baron, because they sent Trist bot, you saw Trist bot, Nasus didn't recall, so you saw Nasus up here with like a quarter of life. Kassadin couldn't be here. You guys actually could have Baroned right here. Varus was here, Singed, you, and Lissandra. you could have definitely baroned. Mostly because they sent 2 bottoms. So just look for that. Anytime a team overextends and pushes too hard, uh, that was definitely a possibility that you passed up right there. You want to be a little careful here. You have no wards, and once again, so I was talking about, you should buy wards as jungle. It's really helpful for your team. You know, it's really helpful to fix any warding deficiency. Ooh, you missed your knockup, which is really disappointing right there. It's definitely trouble. And this Sejuani is getting really tanky as well. But so that's unfortunate you missed your knockup. I don't know if it really would have mattered there. It certainly would have chunked her lower. It would have been nice getting the armor debuff for your damage after that. Hey, why'd you just bite me? Anyway, so let me go a little faster. So you guys are still ahead at this point in the game. It's not much, and the thing is that if you look at your team comps, the enemy team's late game team comp is extremely scary. This is something you always want to consider when you look at team comps. Tristana, Kassadin, and Nasus are just absolute monsters late game. You do have Singed, who's very strong late game. Varus is pretty strong, but it's not. I mean, Singed and Nasus are pretty even, I'd probably say. But Tristana is extremely scary as the game progresses, and so is Kassadin. So you need to start forcing, and you need to start trying to take control of this game. If you can't finish this game and build up a lead in the early mid-game stages, then you're going to be in trouble this game, and it's going to ultimately cause you to lose. If you're outcomped for the late game, you have to win early. So good smite by you to secure that. This is pretty scary though. Varus is alive though, and that's the important thing, is you just keep Varus alive. Oh my god, he got pushed into the wall, that was kind of crazy. So, okay. Remember that terrifying Triss late game I just talked about? Yeah, you just gave her a quadra kill, really scary. So let me watch this team fight again, and let me see if there's anything I want to say about your play. Okay. Okay, so I run at half speed. So you're locked up. You dunk the Sedge. Okay. You don't want to dunk the Sedge. For a couple reasons. One, you've just trapped your Lissandra in here with Kassadin and Sejuani. Not good. And your Zyra. You just trapped your team in a very bad location. Tristana is completely free right here. You want that dunk to be on the Tristana to either force her to jump out away from you, and that forces her to use her escape early and zones her out of the fight. This ult literally doesn't do anything. Just what does this ult do for your team? Sejuani and Kassadin weren't going to be able to get out of it anyway. Like, they're not going to be able to get out of the Zyra ult anyway. They want to stay here and fight this little helpless Lissandra anyway. So this ult it's not helpful. It's not helping anyone, it's just hurting your team actually. And then just look at this Trist. This Trist is just completely untouched this entire fight. You didn't knock her up, you didn't, and then here, you focused Leona that whole time. You really needed to get on that Tristana. So, biggest thing in this fight is you gotta get on the AD carry. Absolutely. Focus the right targets. You did not have good focus there. That ult got on Sejuani and Kassadin, which is fine, but it's just your ult didn't do anything. That big ring, all it did was keep your team there and force Zyra to stay on the bad side near Tristana. You guys are still up though because he got Dragon. He got Dragon traded 4 for 4. It's not a big deal. It's really unfortunate that 4 of those kills did end up going on Tristana. That sucks. But you guys are still stronger. It may not. So when you're playing the game, you may not realize that you do have a gold advantage because you're down 5 kills. But you are up 3 dragons, which is a really big deal, and a tower. I don't think... Okay, Sejuani just have ult. It's another team fight. Once again, I guess you're focusing Kassadin in these fights, that's actually went really well because you had Lissandra and Singed on the Tristana, so this fight went really well. Focusing Kassadin was good there. You dunked him after he rift walked in, so he couldn't walk out, and that was okay. So 5 for Odace. You guys I would get Baron in the situation. You don't even have the inner mid tower. But here's the thing: if you're the only one going to Baron, you gotta just go with your team. I think Baron is definitely the better call here. So this is a classic Baron or Inhib situation, and this is one of the situations where I would strongly recommend that Baron is the right call. However, in solo queue, the right call is whatever you can get your whole team to do. You can't stay for the Inhib, though, is the thing. With home guards, like, yeah, you can't overstay your welcome here. So you got one tower. You could have had a Baron. Baron is much more valuable than an inner tower. The other thing... Hold on. Okay, sorry. My dogs are like chasing stuff. Anyway, so Baron would have been the right call there. You would have gotten it pretty easily. The other thing is, like, if you overextend on a push like that, you have to be a little careful of the enemy team rushing Baron. So that ensures that they can't get the Baron before you. Once again, that's what I was talking about, these neutral objectives. When you take it, not only do you get the benefits, but you ensure that the enemy team does not get it, which can be very good. So that's a really good team fight for you guys, and it's really unfortunate that all you got from it was an inner tower. I mean, it's good you guys did get a tower, but if it's solo queue and your team is hellbent on pushing and getting a tower and they're not going to listen to your Baron call, then you did the right thing and you just went with them to push, and that's fine. Unfortunately, that's the bad thing about solo queues, you can't communicate like that. Varus went Phantom Dancer instead of Last Whisper, which is unfortunate. He's going to have a hard time killing that Nasus without that Last Whisper. Actually, Nasus doesn't even have that much armor. He went Swiftness, and now he's going Triforce, so never mind. I assumed he was going to build more tanky, but he's not. So you guys just want to fight pretty handily, and that's really good. That means you can probably do it again, as long as everything goes well. So don't be afraid to force this fight. And Singed is going big. Just the big thing in these fights is you have to shut down Tristana. It's hard to shut down a Kassadin, just because of his mobility. He's gonna probably get damage on your Varus. So once again, a combo landing. Okay. So I'll let this play out, and then we'll watch it in half speed, and I'll talk about this fight. But this fight is not going well for you guys. So maybe it is. Varus is still alive. No, not going well. Okay. So let's rewind this and watch it in half speed, and I'll talk about this team fight. Okay. Let's go one more. So right away... So it begins with Singed stun from Leona and Leona on Varus. So this is fine because look how separated the team is. Leona is so far out of here, she's going to instantly die unless the enemy team does something pretty drastic here. So this first combo, not on Tristana, it's on Kassadin and it's on Sejuani. But the thing is that both of these champions... This knockup, all it's going to do is it's going to isolate yourself back here, and they're all going to move forward into the rest of your team, because Kassadin is just going to rift walk, Sejuani is going to charge an ult, and Triss is just going to jump. So the knockup is good, and then you stick on the Kassadin, and this is the mistake. You ult Tristana when she's frozen, in general, when you're playing a champion with a gap closer, you want to try to wait for an enemy to use their escape before you use your gap closer. So it's a little BS that she was able to jump actually. But then you gotta drop these walls. Look, your Singed is stuck in here. So you gotta drop those walls. And this Triss is just unmolested. The Singed is trying to get on her. But at this point, this Nasus is charging straight at your Varus. No one's helping this Varus deal with this Nasus. This Lissandra is low health, the Kassadin's low health. But the Kassadin is just gonna come back in later. And you're right here on the Sejuani. You need to get either on Trist, force her out, or you need to get on Nasus and help your Varus. And looks like you're gonna go hit You're gonna go hit Leona. It's not what you need. You need to either be CCing and locking down this Nasus, or CCing and locking down this Tristana. So if right here in this situation you were on Tristana, you could have killed her a lot faster. Maybe Varus would have lived longer, which would have helped him kill Nasus, etc. So I think that teamfight was a little misplayed by you. You need to start prioritizing Tristana in these fights. You need to stop prioritizing Kassadin. You just can't really shut down Kassadin. At least you can't initiate on the Kassadin if his Rift walks up. If he comes into you, then you can dunk him, keeps him there until his Rift Walk cooldowns up, or knock him up. But if he hasn't done anything, it's hard to go on the Kassadin. And then that ult, it's weird that Tristana was able to jump with the Sejuani ult, or Lissandra ult rather. But thing is try to save your dunk until they're forced to use their escape. And then when you dunk, she's either going to have to flash out, or she's going to have to ult you away, etc. So that was an unfortunate fight. So this game is really even, which is trouble for you because their late game is stronger. So they just showed 2 bot. You could force Baron there. So another thing I want to talk about is just general. One thing that you could really work on is just general vision when you're jungling. You've bought 0 wards to help your team out, and at this point in the game, buying an oracles or pink wards are very important because you can secure barons with stuff like this. So this is a little risky. You did see bot lane not too long ago, but you guys should definitely be able to get this. Nice. So very easy baron. Okay, so you guys force the flash. You don't have to force this so hard like you're doing right now. But I mean, if you can and it works out, that's fine. You need to get on this Trist though. Not, once again, knocking up people that aren't Trist. Let's just say that. So we're gonna watch this team fight in slow-mo as well, because maybe this is gonna go okay for you guys. Mostly, I think, because you had Baron. So your priority and focus in team fights, I think, needs some work. So let's watch this. Let's watch this again. Okay, so you are, okay, right here. So your first combo knocks up Nasus and Sejuani and puts you on this side. Trist completely unmolested here. But the thing is like Sejuani is already ulted. Or actually, has she not ulted? No, she hasn't even ulted yet. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this knockup. I really feel like you need to be prioritizing Tristana in these fights. And then she jumps in, and you ult. This ult isn't bad. What it's doing is, can I zoom in? Because this is, man, what a clusterfuck. So you have Lissandra, Singed, yourself, in here with Trist and Kassadin. So this is fine. Just keep in mind that this Nasus is on your Varus, and if Varus doesn't get help with this Nasus is gonna wreck him. So Tristana immediately jumps out of your ulti, and you guys are all trapped in here with Kassadin. Which is good, but Kassadin didn't die. And then you turn on the Nasus. But then Tristana is still just wrecking you. So I really think that in these fights you need to be more focused on shutting down Tristana, or what you need to be doing is just completely focus on getting Nasus off Varus, because it's hard to really shut this team down because all their carries are very mobile. Tristana and Kassadin, it's hard for you to lock them down with your ults. With your knockups are always really, really powerful against them, but you haven't been using your knockups on Tristana. Alright, so missed your knockup, which is unfortunate. This is a little dangerous, but one thing your ult can be really effective for is keeping Nasus off Varus. It's gonna be really, really, really effective to stop Nasus from getting on your Varus, and I think that's something that you should be prioritizing with your ultimate at this point. Your ult, it's just too hard to shut down a Kassadin and a Tristana unless you save it to the point where Triss has already used her jump and Kassadin has just Rift locked in, and they're in a position where your team can follow up with them. I would start using your ult to just separate Nasus from Varus. Oh, run, Lissandra, run. So this game is you just got a really nice lead. Getting that Baron, winning that fight, very nice lead for your team. Getting an inhibitor. At this point, you guys are looking really, really strong, and you can start looking to end the game. And so you guys need to group and pressure. This bottom tower would be a really good idea. Oh, you should have ulted that. I feel like that would have been a kill on Nasus if you ulted that. I'm not sure why you didn't. It was up. He was separated from his team up here. Your team was in good position, really far away from the enemy team who was down here. Like Varus was really safe up here. That could have been a possible pickoff if you just ulted that. So a really dangerous spot for you guys to be sitting. This is a really good spot for the enemy team to engage because you can't hit Triss without going under tower. So really bad throw by you guys. But you should keep them interested because you have minions knocking on the door. So one thing you can do, instead of just running the hell out of here with full HP, you should stick around in this fight. You should go over here, help Lissandra. Okay, so you turn around. It's really late though, and Lissandra's gonna kind of be... She's kind of getting wrecked at this point. So you should have helped her earlier. It was really late for you to turn around and help her out. So I understand that maybe you're in just like survival, run away, we lost the fight mode, but really, I mean, you didn't do anything here. You were full health the entire time. As Jarvan, your job is pretty much to die for your team. It's a good day to die, right? That's what he says. That should be your job. You ult in here, which kind of shuts down 4 people, and keeps them insinged, but then you just run. You just run like hell at full HP. So like this knockup, you could have helped slow down this Nasus, help get her off Lissandra. At this point you can start running. Realize that you have minions pushing here, and the longer you keep them interested in chasing you, the better. So also you can see Tristana recalling. You need to just recognize that, hey, I should be able to help this. If you were here earlier, I really feel like you could have turned this 2v2. Lissandra misplayed it. If she used her ult on herself and then used her Zhonya's after, you guys definitely could have turned that, but that's okay. So you guys just got, what, 2 towers out of that? So you lost the fight but got 2 towers, so that's okay. You're still up gold a little bit. You lost all your Barons though, which is really unfortunate, so not a good use of Baron. It's just really dangerous to sit right here against a team with really strong engage, because this is the perfect spot for the enemy team to engage, because you can't get on their back line without taking tower aggro, and that's really dangerous. Okay, so you have an open and hit mid. You should look to try to force that. Nasus has, or Varus has less Whisper now, so that's really good for your team. But yeah, so in general as Jarvan, especially if you're building tank Jarvan, your job is to just get in the middle of shit and take a ton of damage for your team. That is your job. Your job is to die for your team. It's to initiate, soak up a ton of damage, and lock them down as long as possible. If you do that, that's your job as Jarvan. So right now, you guys just saw Kassadin use Zhonya's. Good time to fight. Kassadin doesn't have Zhonya's. I mean, that's pretty big. This is as good. Okay, so I want to pause this. This is as good of a fight as you could ask for right now. Their team comp is just getting stronger. You need to start trying to close out this game. There's no tower here. This is just a straight 5v5 if you start this fight. Kassadin just used his Zhonya's. I mean, I don't know what else you could ask for right now. That's as good of a fight as you could look for. Unless you can get some lucky pick off. But I mean, I would take that fight. You know, that's a good fight. As long as you don't get like 5-0 ace, they probably can't do anything about it anyway, because all your lanes are so pushed in. So that's a fight I would have taken right there. This one will work too. So you immediately force Trist out of the fight. That's good. Now you can ult Nasus and keep him out. Okay. So we'll go over this again. This fight again. Because you pretty much got blown up, which is good. You died for your team, right? That's what I was just talking about. But well, you guys are all low. You went 1 for 2, but your team is really low. I don't know if they can take this inhib. It's really dangerous to take this inhib because they just pick up home guards that just come and wreck you. Alright, so let's watch this fight again.
Blue team's turret has been
Okay. I'm gonna watch like half speed. I don't know. It will zoom in a little bit. Okay. So you land the good knockup on Trist and Kassadin. And this is good. You forced Trist way out of this fight now. But look, your Lissandra and your Varus are not in this fight either. So you're kind of in trouble because you're just going to get focused by these two because they have nothing else to do. And you're going to get melted, pretty much. So what you can do here is you see this Nasus coming in, who's isolated from the rest of his team. You can ult this Nasus, and it's immediately going to separate him, lock him down, and prevent him from getting onto Varus. Instead, you wait until you're like almost dead, and then you ult Sejuani. Sejuani can just Q out of your ulti. It ultimately really didn't help that much. Oof, that Nasus just messes up. So that ult should have either been on Nasus to really try to protect the beginning of Varus, or just go back in up here. Tristana used her jump already, so she's not going to be able to jump out of that ulti. It would have sit her in there. And this kind of just goes back to what I'm saying, is I really think you need to prioritize Tristana a lot harder in these fights than you are. And I know I just talked about, maybe switch to prioritizing your ulti on Nasus, but I did say unless you can force the escapes from Tristana. If you force escapes on Tristana, then go for it on her. Excuse me. So really close game for you guys. Once again, you didn't buy any vision. This point in the game, vision is extremely important. Oracles at this point in the game would really put a lot of pressure on Baron. It would put the enemy team in a really tough spot. Oh, Varus just getting absolutely shut down. So this fight, okay, so your team gets caught out in a 5v4 situation. You ult, try to disengage, and then just bail, and that's okay. You probably would have just died if you went in. You might have been able to pick up a kill though. So that's unfortunate. You guys you might have to give up the inhibitor, but you certainly don't have to give up any double towers. It is 3v5. You kind of need to make a team decision though if you're even going to try to defend this, because if you try to defend this and you lose, it might be really bad. Yeah, so you can't even defend this. You guys are just gonna die. So it might have been better just to give that one up. You did force them low, actually. You might be able to Baron once people are alive. It's pretty iffy though, with a minute death timers on you, on your team smite. That Baron's pretty iffy. And they got it. So At this point in the game, you're in serious trouble. The enemy team's late game is stronger. It's definitely late game. They just eclipsed you guys, got a lead, got an inhibitor advantage, have the Baron buff. I mean, it's really, really dangerous right now. And I think you guys probably just gonna lose the game here. It was a really close game. Yes, getting caught out right there probably just secured the loss for your team, but you've been losing this game because you just haven't been closing it out. You need to end this game earlier. Jarvan is a pick that's really, really effective early, and you want to try to get very strong leads early on as Jarvan. Late game, he can still be pretty effective, but he's mostly just going to CC some people and then die in late game team fights. As far as your build, I don't know if I like Sunfire on you. Aranduin's would be really, really, I think, better against this team. It would have let you shut down Trist a lot harder. But the Sunfire, you're trading a lot of survivability that the Aranduins would give you for a little bit of AoE damage. And I just think that... Whew, good blow up on Kassadin. That's a really big deal. This became a really good fight. You don't knock up Trist, and then use your ult when she has jump again. I can't... This is a big misplay by you right here. I guess it's not going to matter, but Trish should have died. If you just landed the knockup on Tristana, she would have been forced to jump away after the knockup, and then you could just ult her, and that would just secure the Trista kill on your team, which would be a big deal at this point. So, slight misplay. It ends up not ultimately mattering that much. As you guys... Excuse me. Even if you kill Tristana, you would just have to go defend your base, so it's really not a big deal. But you live to fight another day. Unfortunately, you have 3 exposed inhibitors, which is really, it's just hard to come back from that. So you gotta fight him. You can't give up your inhibitors. Okay. Ooh, that fight. Ult on Sejuani. Not a good fight again. Do you live with no HP? Okay. So once again, I'll kind of rewind this fight and go over this fight from your perspective again. Because this is pretty much game. In fact, I'm almost positive this is game for you guys. Okay, so let's rewind this. Where are you? You're right here, okay. So you're in the front, which is fine. Okay, so Leona stun on you. And you walk into them, but miss your combo on Trist again. Really big deal. They peel for you, they're focusing you, and you get blown up. Trist just jumped? Okay. Trist just jumped right here. And instead of ulting her, which is going to keep her here, keep her in the Zyra route, make her vulnerable to the Singe, you can just run at her. And you might even be able to trap in with her. Or you can ult this Nasus and possibly separate them, though he's already on Varus, so it might just keep him in there. You go for this Sejuani, who's already ulted, who's full health, who just isn't really a threat. Wait, I thought Trish jumped in. Oh, I don't know. I thought she jumped in, maybe, oh, she must have gotten Singe tossed, I see. Never mind, so Trish didn't jump, so that's fine, you didn't ult her. But then, your solo health, I mean, at this point in the game, why run out and flash out with that low health? May as well stay in, take a couple more shots, try to get another knockup combo off, and just land the CC. But anyway, yeah, you just can't miss your knockup combos like that. If you hit that knockup combo on Trist, she's gonna have to flash out because Singe is on her, or jump out, and then you can ult her. But and then I'm pretty sure this game is over. Okay, so this is a pretty long one, but I focus a lot on your team fighting, SJ4. So let's kind of recap the biggest things that I'm seeing in this play. The first is just early game pressure. You need to figure out how to make more of an impact early game as Jarvan. That top that top lane gank right away when you double buffs the top lane. If you're going double buffs, you got to try that gank top lane. You can't do double buffs. You can't go buff to buff. Walk into that top lane, walk into that bush, and then just walk away. Either just don't go there, or go there and just walk up, try to EQ combo them, hit the red buff, try to force the slow. Singed flung him. You walked into that bush, and then as soon as you walked back, Singed ran up, flung the Nasus, and that would have guaranteed been a flash and possibly a kill if you were still there. So, early game, you got to figure out how to pressure lanes better. The only lane you pressured was mid. You blew Kassadin's flash early, and you didn't come back for the kill before 6, which is a big mistake. You gotta pressure bot, especially anytime when you're jungling and you see the enemy team has a Leona. It's very good to stick near bot lane and kind of camp bot lane, because Leona has to go completely all in to have a presence in lane. And if you're there when Leona tries to go all in, completely screws over the Leona. So just keep that in mind. You need to have better early pressure. Dragons, you had pretty good dragon control, and that was good. You did miss that Baron opportunity I talked about. That 5-0 ace you had where you only got the inner tower was bad, but I mean, in solo queue, and what can you do? You can't really... If they really want that tower and you're spam picking Baron and they're not coming, you just have to suck it up and go with them. So you made the right call. Other than that, in those late game team fights and in team fights in general, you have to prioritize Tristana better. You have to land that knock-up combo on her. The last 2 fights in a row, you missed your knock-up combo on her, and it cost you the fight, essentially. So either prioritize Tristana more or prioritize keeping your Varus alive more. Do one or the other, because a lot of your knockups and ults, they weren't used for either of those purposes. They weren't used to shut down Tristana, and they weren't used to keep Varus alive. They were used like, oh, Kassadin's here, I'm going to ult him. Or I'm going to ult Sejuani, etc. Even when they're not pressuring your Varus. So really focus, when you're playing Jarvan the 4th in team fights, either focus on shutting down Tristana or keeping Varus alive. Do one of those 2 things. And which one you do, it depends on the situation, who's stronger. In these fights, both of them were pretty equally strong. Just by nature, the late game Trist was stronger, but Trist is harder to shut down. So if Trist hasn't been forced to jump yet, don't ult her. But if she's jumped, then you can go ahead and ult her, etc. So it just depends on reading the situation. So yeah, the biggest things is work on your early game pressure and work on what targets you're prioritizing as Jarvan, and then a big thing is buy wards, pink wards, and oracles from the jungle. There are many situations in that game where you could have helped your team ward. Your top and mid weren't warding, so pick up some wards and ward for them. Pink wards would help you sneak dragons, etc. And oracles as well. So, and with your build, I don't really like Sunfire on Jarvan very much. Jarvan is just a champion where you're going to go into the middle of the fight and you're going to soak up so much damage. And you have 2 ways to cope with that. You either blow people up when you go in there by having like a Ravenous Hydra, so you're doing a lot of damage and a lot of AoE damage, and you're just blowing their squishies up. Or you're tanky enough that you can soak up all that damage. And I feel like Sunfire Cape, it makes you tankier, but it's not going to add that much damage to yourself. To the point where I really feel like Randuin's is a better choice on Jarvan. You get in the middle of them, you pop that Randuin's, you're so annoying. Anyone that's hitting you is going to be slowed, etc. So, work on your early game pressure, work on your focus and priorities in team fights, and pick up some vision. Alright, and that's it. So thanks everyone. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and like the video and subscribe and tell all your friends about me. And one thing, exciting news, I've partnered with lawreplays.org, or the League of Legends section of gamereplays.org. And from now on, if you want to, if you're going to submit a replay to me, don't email the attachment to me. Go ahead and go to lawreplays.org. And if you go to my Twitch channel, it has instructions. You can upload your replay there, and then you can send me the link. Yeah, so excited about that. It's always kind of weirded me out to just be downloading random attachments that people send me. So a little safer this way. But yeah. So thanks, guys. I'm gonna